Right, hello. We're going to go through some minuscules today, so that's the lowercase alphabet. I have completed the uppercase alphabet, and if you haven't seen those, they are on my channel, so I will link that if I figure out how. Today we're going to look at a group of minuscules which have similar basic strokes in. I did do a video on the basic strokes, but I feel like they're really common for a video on YouTube, so I'm sure you can get hold of them, no problem. Okay, so the first little letter that we are going to look at today, I'm just making sure that I am in frame. So our first letter is going to be the letter A, nice and easy. Okay, so a letter A is comprised of 3 strokes. The first stroke is an entry stroke. There you go, plus. Teeny tiny little plus, I should make that a little bigger. There we go. Plus an oval. It's really weird, I have to keep changing my angle. Made my oval a little bit wide. And then plus is an underturn. So that's that gradual release of pressure. Okay, so when we do put it together, you can see if I do it a little bit slower, my copper plate is quite slow anyway, but you'll be able to see. So there's my entry stroke, straight into an oval, and then an underturn. Bear in mind that when you've got an underturn next to an oval, the oval is going to dictate a lot. So I'll just clean off my nib really quickly, just so nothing's going to break my nib. Having said that, I am using a Nico G today, so it is pretty indestructible. Right, how are we looking for this pen? I don't think it shows up very well. I'll use this one. Okay, so for this one, when you have an oval, the oval is going to dictate the width of your underturn. So in here, you're looking at an oval contained in this area that's equal to the oval contained in this area. So we should have 2 ovals side to side. We then should have our entry stroke. So my entry stroke's a little long, but that's okay. I'll get back into the swing of things. But I should have 3 parallel lines along the bottom. I like to cover, let me see if I've got it, definitely got a spare envelope somewhere, there we go. So I can cover the top half of my letter and just look at the bottom. So we should be seeing almost an identical bottom layer. I find this really helpful because A, it stops it from looking like a letter, so you can actually focus on the distance. If you've got one much wider than the other, then you know that that A is going to look unbalanced. Okay, that's an A, and that's going to give us all the basic strokes that we need for our next letter. So our next letter is going to be a C. So C again starts with an entry stroke. And okay, so a C is comprised, I would say again, of the same 3 strokes, but the last 2 are done together. So the first bit's nice and easy, that's the entry stroke. I'm going to go plus, and it is an oval contained in here. It's just an incomplete oval. So I haven't come back up to meet myself to complete my oval. I've instead gone into what would be the bottom of an underturn. So I can do an oval, and then plus. I could actually do another entry stroke here, because it is the same, oh, it should be the same as that roughly. There is also a dot. The dot here on a C and on other letters is called a terminus dot. And I'll talk about that in a sec. Let me just clean my nib off really quickly. I should definitely invest in some nib cleaning, I don't know, magic item, I suppose. Okay. So this dot right here is called a terminus dot. And it's exactly what it sounds like. So it is a terminal. It means that you cannot continue the line beyond that dot. So it means if I wanted to flourish my C, or if I had any way of extending it, I cannot do it at the top here. Okay. So nice and easy. That is a C. So that should have, oh my gosh, I've completely gone over the oval, haven't I? Right, so that, I'll do another one because that's seemingly what I'm doing now. Should really think about these a little bit more, but never mind. I'll do it a little bit slower. So we've got an entry stroke into an incomplete oval. My nib is really loose. That might be the issue. I'm going to blame that. Okay. And that's going to go into another entry stroke effectively. And then we're going to put a terminus dot on here. Okay. So for my C, I should have an enclosed oval here, right here. So that should be looking really in line, especially if I've got other letters either side, as if it could just be another oval, like an O. Again, I should have parallel lines here and here. That's your basis of your C. Okay, I'll move this up. We'll do a little more. I should really move this over. I wonder if I can just move my camera slightly over. There we go. Right, so the third letter that I'm going to show you is an E. So it's very similar. So I'm going to start with a entry stroke, and then I'm going to do an incomplete oval, and it is up to you where you want to start. But I could do basically a C and then come back in and finish it off. Or I can start from where you would normally start, from an E in the middle. I like to start personally from the middle, but I think it is a personal choice. Okay, so that is an E. I can try it the other way as well. That might be interesting. I never normally do it that way. So there's my... Oh no, that's odd. That feels odd. And then I can go back. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that feels really weird. Okay. But if that works for you, by all means. Okay, so for an E, we have really, really similar pieces to a C. So we're looking at, oh, I've got a huge hair on my nib. Do you see that? Humongous. But there we go. Right. Here's an entry stroke plus an incomplete oval, which I'm just going to put as an oval. And then plus, it is another entry stroke, but I don't have a terminus dot here. I'm not actually going to call it anything because it's not a general stroke. So I'm going to leave it as that, but it is up to you how you want to do it. I'll explain where it goes. I'll do it once more down here. So my entry stroke, I'm going to start from the middle. So this middle should be at the middle of your X height, approximately. Cool. There we go. So that is an E. I'll put this for you into little notes. Hopefully I can be quite quick so I don't need to clean all that off. Right, so the part where my E meets itself again should be about halfway up my X height. If it's any taller or lower, it's going to look as if it's either encroaching into this little open space or as if it's closer to an I, which we don't want. Again, we should have parallel lines right here. The more that you write, and especially if you're writing consistently, especially in a long form text, then you're going to get that consistency for your entry strokes and exit strokes. Okay, and it is up to you whether you want to start at 12 o'clock. So we can go 12 o'clock start. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I'd love that. Or start in the middle. All right, so that's the basis of an E. I'm going to show you one more in this little group. And I'm sure you can already guess. Oh my gosh, I've gone so much lower than I thought. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to do an entry stroke. And I'm going to do an oval. So a full oval this time. Okay, and then for the rest of this letter, we're going to do a stroke which is seen a few times, and I will explain it in due course. Okay, cool. So this is an O. An O is made up of an entry stroke plus an oval, so you can see what's linking all these letters. It's all entry stroke plus oval in various forms, but it's good to practice them all together. Plus, then you're looking at a special stroke of the pen, and it's where you're trying to get roughly something that looks like half a circle. It's done by doing very controlled pressure, and that will go up into an exit stroke. Okay, you can just do it manually. So I have seen people that almost colour it in, if that makes sense. So am I still in frame? Yeah, I am. Okay. So I have seen people that, you know, they'll just do it as lightly as possible and then they'll go back in. That's absolutely fine. I do try and do it all in one. I just find it's better for a rhythm. It's better for my overall pen control. Right, let me clean this off and then we'll go through what an I has to do. Then we'll have a go at some words. That sounds good. All right, what have I done with my pen? There it is. Right, so we have, again, parallel lines, especially on your exit stroke here. So this exit stroke should be similar, or should look like it could lead on from your entry stroke. Sometimes this isn't possible. So if I have an O to something like an F, that would work. Yeah, because my next letter is tall, so I can use that as an entry stroke. Sometimes if I have a letter that doesn't start tall, or in fact starts with an overturn, it's going to be a bit more complicated. So I actually just reverse it so that I can make a different ligature. It's too much to squash that ligature into there. We'll go through ligatures at some point, I'm sure, because they are complex and many. Okay, so if we have a practice of them all together, I should be able to move that, then we should be able to see some consistency happening. So if I just do arm angle isn't at the right point because I've got the light in the way. It's all right, I'll get there. There we go. Better. Does look like my page is kind of screaming at the moment, but I assure you it's all for consistency. So you want consistency? Oh my gosh, look at that. Capital city of wobbles that is. There we go. Okay, so you can see I'm developing some consistency here. I think my spacing is getting there, especially when I'm not breaking to either get more ink or whatever. I think when I'm not taking a break, my consistency is there. If I do my old envelope trick again, then I will show you. You can use anything really. I've used post-it notes for this before as well. It's really good. But if you have a look at the bottom half of my letters, you'll be able to see I'm getting there with the consistency. It's actually quite difficult to do, but if you can lay it over, so like I feel like I'm getting consistency here, I lose it a little here, and then I gain it back here. So those 5 with dots on are pretty good gaps and spacing. Okay, I can look at it the other way around, so I can look at it just the top way, and that's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. I've got one really wide one here compared to the others, but I think we're pretty good actually. Okay, and you can do as many of those as you want. I'm not saying sit and do a page of A's because I think that would drive anybody insane, but I think it's good to have a practice of like at least a few, especially if you're going to do a name or if you're going to do a long sitting of writing. Have a look. Do I have space down here? Oh, I have space down here. Yeah, we're good. Oh my gosh, my thing is loose again. How is that possible? There we go. I felt that move in my pen holder. That's so much more better. Okay. You'll notice that I'm not putting in the terminus dot. I sometimes do and sometimes don't. And I think it's mostly because I sort of weigh up how is it looking across like an entire piece. Is the piece looking busy? Do I need to fill that space with a terminus dot? Like, is it still legible as a C without the terminus dot? There's nothing in the way. I think I'm getting there now. Yeah, I think I'm getting there now. Right. Okay, so if I go back to my old friend, the envelope. Right, yeah. Okay. So I think you can see about here. Oh my gosh, no pun intended, I promise. So about at this point, what is that on my hand? There we go. I'm actually getting really good spacing consistency at kind of this point onwards. So it does take me a few to get into the rhythm. And then at the top, yeah, you can see that I'm kind of getting wider and wider with my C's going along until I get to about this point, and then they're all consistent. So it does take me a little while, you know, no one's perfect straight off. You do need a bit of brushing off the dust, I think is the word. Alrighty, so I'm then going to do a few E's and a few O's. We can mix and match them between them, should you want to. I find it easier to do just a little few of each. I feel like I'm getting there. Oh, that wasn't right, was it? Oh my gosh. There we go, we're back. I completely went off the slant line there. Should know better. Okay. Alrighty. So an absolute queue of E's there. My E's are really narrow, so I think I've got double the amount of E's than I have of anything else. If you're bored, you can count them for me if you want. Alright, well, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I just kind of keep going until I feel alright, like I've got a rhythm going and I can reliably produce consistent letters. Sometimes it takes me, I don't know, sometimes it takes me 50 tries, sometimes it takes me 10 tries, you know, but again, with the envelope, if I push this a little lower, we should be able to see, but I do need to